A top secret government organization codenamed Patriot has been experimenting with human beings for decades, creating super soldiers to defend the motherland. One of their genius scientists has gone rogue, threatening the stability of the nation and the good of the whole planet. Tracking down some of their previous experiments, assembling a team of superhumans, each with their own powers, they will fight the bad guy, save the nation, save the world, hopefully. This is a Russian homemade cinematic feature. Russian audiences rejected it. Russian critics said it might be the worst film ever made. 2017, The Guardians. All right, so it is not very good. Calling it anywhere in the ballpark of the worst film ever made means you have not watched any of the junk made in America in the last several years. Never saw any of our worst. It is not that terrible of a film. Obviously, it is a ripoff of the whole superhero genre. It is inescapable that some of the characters seem like they're right out of the pages of Marvel Comics, when Marvel Comics, back in the Cold War and after, produced the Soviet Super Troopers with Devastator and the special armored men that backed him up. Also the Soviet Super Soldiers, which were more elaborately superhuman and mutants recruited to save the homeland. You even had the Bear Ursa, Major Ursa in Marvel Comics. We have Arceus in The Guardians, because how are you going to do a Russian superhero team without a dude that turns into a bear? You're just not. So I don't know if there's any royalties issues with that internationally or how that works, but really the Russians own the bear. I mean, what are you going to do about that? Patriot is very much like the SHIELD organization in Marvel, but all of these things, though they look like they're completely ripped off of Marvel, they're sort of, any government on earth has top secret agencies, and we know they're always doing top secret research, and it's just sort of weird that, I mean, it would be crazy not to have one. So we get this nice story, we get these nice superhero characters gathered together, they save the day. Spoiler alert, I should have said, I think you knew that. You have actually all the elements that you need to make a really good superhero story, a film out of this story, but it just doesn't work the way that we're given it. Our superhero characters and Guardians, they've all been modified in various ways. They each have unique powers. It's a little bit like the X-Men in the sense that some of them have powers that are weird, like the mutants in X-Men. Some of them do strange stuff. Some are actually like hard to weaponize, to use as a instrument for good or for evil. They're more random than that. And so we do get some of that with the Guardians. You feel like it's an experiment gone awry and the powers aren't real useful in some instances. It feels like that. You've got a bad guy. You've got the whole conflict. Everything in the film works, except it doesn't. Like, about 10 minutes into the film, you suddenly get a military briefing. You get to sit on a briefing that tells you the whole story. Until they go fight the bad guy, you now know everything you need to know. You didn't learn it a little bit along the way. There's no great discovery. There's no turn of events like the guy that recruited you back turned out to be in on it. There's nothing surprising. In that regards, with that plus the CGI, it felt a lot like playing a video game where you have an introduction and you get sort of this briefing, and now you know the mission. There's a series of battles with the bad guy. You know, the good guys lose, the good guys have to recover, the good guys come back stronger, the good guys win. All of the step-by-step stuff is sort of there, but it's told so badly. When we do get little clues to their origin, more details individualized of their origin, we get them sort of randomly in discussion. that doesn't carry the gravitas that it needed to and just didn't feel right, that should have been part of an hour-long introductory part of the movie or something, where you did flash, where you started in the past and showed snippets of how it developed and something like that. Maybe one of them has a secret trauma and you find out somewhere along the way and there's you get to see it, but it doesn't do any of that. They took all of the elements that would make a really cool superhero film, slop them up on the screen, rearrange them in order so that they do follow a sensical pattern. There's nothing about the plot that's just kind of dumb. The couple times you think something happened that was really dumb, like using GPS to track somebody, but of course it turns out that it wasn't what it seemed. So it was actually smarter than it appeared to be. But overall, the flow of the narrative, it is not smart. But we get a cool set of heroes, and we get a modification of their powers partway through with super suits and stuff, which is really cool. We get it could have almost been a trilogy of meeting these people and them getting their lives. Then the bad guy comes back and they augment themselves. And then the big finale where they realize their powers combine, which was an interesting sort of plot development. Probably the most unexpected part, but then they put it in there in a way that was like, ugh, you had to roll your eyes. So it had all the elements are there. The CGI was solid. Some of it, more obviously than others, looked like a video game when certain, drone controlled equipment is moving around. You're like, oh yeah, that's definitely right from game animation, but I don't know you can distinguish that very well in any of the recent Marvel stuff either. All in all, I'd say it seemed like a reasonable attempt to create another national copy of this kind of story. It just needed a lot more work to make it work. But I found it on Amazon, also on YouTube, both places it was with commercials. Check it out if you haven't seen it. Let me know what you think. See you next time.